Well, funny thing is, I hit the live button or the before I was starting, and I hadn't even finished putting my shirt on. I'm like, crap, I did it way too fast, so I'll have to change that thumbnail. Anyways, we had a very interesting day today. It got up into, I think it was like 67 or something today in the middle of February. It didn't make sense at all. We had thunderstorms came through late last night. In fact, there was a tornado in Alabama. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was quite interesting. Damage for like a quarter mile, and people, I guess there was a couple people killed, but not good situation. But today was unbelievably warm and humid, and I went out and split a bunch of wood, and it was nice to be outside. Get my little wood splitter out there. I've still been splitting some wood using, because I have these big rounds that are, some of them are like this big around that you couldn't move if you wanted to and get up on the splitter. So I've been using some wedges, getting those done. I've almost cleaned up that whole area back there. So anyways, also tried to make some bread today. I screwed that up big time, I have to admit. I took a picture. I'll probably share it in one of my videos, but I'm going to show you what it's not supposed to look like. And then tomorrow I'm going to do it again and hopefully follow the recipe correctly. But, you know, when you bake is a very precise thing. It doesn't, it's hard to ad lib that. So I'll explain, you know, how I screwed it up and everything, but that was something else that happened. I'm a constant learner. I think you guys know that. And, I don't know. Have you heard about the Mustangs that they have out now? They have these, you know, the EcoBoosts have been out for a while, but they came out with a new model this year. It was in 2020. That is, it was a high performance package, and it's a engine that they took from the RS, and they've now applied it to the Mustang. And it's like 320 horsepower or 300, I think it's 330 horsepower and a tremendous amount of torque. And they also have a performance package for suspension and everything else. But I mean, this is, instead of a V8, it's a four-banger. And this thing is really giving a lot of these cars a run for their money because it's much lighter, and it has more torque on the low end. And if you're not doing drag racing, this thing can pretty much kill a lot of these Mustang 350s. And of course, there's mods and everything you can do as well. But you're starting with a better platform for a lot of these racetracks where you're not just making left turns like NASCAR and stuff. So like Le Mans and everything else, this is a pretty cool car. But I've been researching, I actually went, you know, I've been looking at these things because I find it interesting. I just can't really afford anything, but I like learning about this stuff and watching a lot of videos, and it's kind of a really cool thing. I might put something together so you're aware of it, but I kind of like technology and what they're doing today. It's really interesting. I mean, this has like a tuned exhaust where you can flip a switch. So like 5 o'clock in the morning when you're leaving for work, you can put it on like a quiet mode, and then it has like a medium level, and then it has like the track mode where it's super loud. But anyways, it's the Mustang EcoBoost, but they have a HPP version, high performance package. And then they also have a handling package, which has a magnetic suspension. Again, is fully tunable with the controls you have inside the dash. I mean, these stupid Mustangs these days, they have heated and cooled seats, and even the steering wheel's heated when you have the full premium package. But it's really interesting. So I'm probably going to do a video on that to just kind of show you some of the stuff that's happening. Because I'm going to tell you right now, these EcoBoosts are pushing the V8s out. The V8s are going to go bye-bye. In a lot of countries, they have, like overseas, I understand, after watching some of these videos, overseas, they have these tremendous taxes they put on the V8s and stuff. So you're going to see these four-bangers come in, and I'm going to tell you right now, you know, everybody tells you, you got to get the the 8-cylinder. You're just going to love it so much more. But guess what? The 8-cylinder isn't twice as good. You're going to pay like 10 to 15K more for the GTs, they call it. And they're just not as, I mean, for the amount of money you're paying, you're not getting that much more for it. So it's really interesting when you're looking at some of these videos And I find it interesting. They don't do side-by-side comparisons. And I think that's one thing I'd like to do. Since I know a race car driver, I want to see if I can get a GT and put it up against this HPP and maybe even the regular EcoBoost and see what happens. But this HPP with the performance package is a unbelievable race car, but also daily driver. And the mileage is way better on these things than the 8 cylinders too. But anyways, I've been playing with that a lot. I find that just very interesting. So I've been all over the place just looking at these cars, and I find it interesting. So I wanted you to know that was one of the things that I've been doing recently, and it's absorbed some of my time. Now I'm going to let you know. Oh, look at that. I'm getting some comments here. Fine with the 4-bangers, but the electric cars are faster. Now, I'm going to tell you, they've got Mustang has come out with a Mach-E, which is their electric vehicle that they're going to try to go against. I think it's the Model Y for Tesla, but they have a Mach-E GT that's going to be coming out, and that is going to be unbelievable, you know. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, this 4-cylinder Mustang is like 4.5 seconds, 0 to 60. So apparently the Mach-E, meaning electric vehicle, is going to be sub 5 seconds also. It's going to be heavy, though, because of the batteries, but they're putting a lot of interesting things in there. But yeah, the electric vehicles are coming along. The problem is you're not going to be able to get these Mach-E's unless you pay like a $15,000 premium or something. So you got to wait till that new technology kind of gets out there and they kind of get caught up and stabilized. They're having some problems with production right now. So we'll see. But yeah, a lot of people are putting orders on those, and that's a fantastic vehicle I was looking at as well. So I think if I had my options, I would probably buy the 4-cylinder HPP right now and wait a couple years for the Mach-E to kind of get out there and get all the bugs, taken out. But unbelievable. So let's see. Had a 68 GT with the 390 Holley 4-barrel factory, 4 miles to gallon. That's unbelievable. Yeah, the GTs now are probably 18, 19 on the highway, but I think you can get 24, 25 on this HPP 4-cylinder. Yeah, I'll tell you, the Mach-E's are really nice looking. There's a lot of stuff going on. So look, I wanted to tell you, even though we kind of got off on cars right away, I've been reading a lot of articles that are saying the stock market's kind of toppy and look out for a somewhat of a correction. So I don't know when it's going to be, but in fact, Carlos is jumping in ahead of me here. I think we're kind of toppy and something's going to happen. So we will have to keep an eye out. We're kind of positioned. I think we're going to be fine. Yeah. Michelle, the Mustangs are actually such that if you have short driver, you can get some people in the back. Otherwise, they're really designed for legless children. It's not very comfortable in the back unless it's like little kids. And, I had a Mustang. I had a 2015 EcoBoost. It was convertible. It was the ruby red, and it had the red leather seats. It was a stick. And I had a grandkid that was in a child seat, and we were trying to reach in the back, to get him in there. But with the convertible, you could drop the top down, and the weather was good, and that helped a lot. But I don't really want a rag top if you're going to be, because that adds weight when you get the convertibles. They had to beef up the doors and stuff like that. So if you want to get to a real, like race car, you want to have as minimal weight as possible. So anyways, that was kind of a fun thing. So stock market's toppy. Got to watch, see how things go. I think there's a lot of concern in the market about the stock market that we could see some very interesting things, especially in the electric car area. I was even reading some articles that it's getting quite competitive now, and that's going to cause prices to crash. So we'll see. So it's probably not a good idea to be jumping on electric cars right now with the amount of competition coming in. It's going to drive those prices way down, I'm expecting. But Let's see. The last thing, well, not the last thing, the next to last thing. Heard some rumors that, we got another potential stimulus coming through and that they are potentially going to tie it to whether you get your vaccination shot or not. So I don't know how many of you are going to want to go pick up your $1,400 check or deposit if they force you to get this vaccine. But they're trying to do, how many are they trying to do? Like 1 million a day or something, and do 100 million in 100 days. And I think they've tried to push it up to 150 million now in 100 days. So we'll see, what they can do. Let's see. Last thing. Somebody was commenting on my last video where I keep trying to tell you that I think we're repeating from 1970 to 1980, and gold and silver increased by, let's say 13 to 15 times during that time. I got something popped up blocking me here. Here we go. So I had people saying, well, we might already be long in the tooth in this 10-year bull market because we've already had a 50% retracement if you go back just a few years since like 2012. But I would argue there's some other things you have to look at. Normally, when you go through the bull market, you're going to double your previous high, which our previous high was like 1900 from that time period. So that means we should be looking at 3,800 this time minimum. The other thing is you're going to, I think I still have this up here. I want to read all of these things to you. Here we go. So gold has to be 2 to 3 times the previous bull market of high of 1921. And then the gold silver ratio has to drop between 35 and 50, which we have not seen yet. We haven't seen the interest rates rising to high single digits. We're not getting gold and silver tips from our Uber drivers and, other folks at the grocery store and stuff. Is everything kind of calm around the world to where that would indicate that we're peaking? And is the US dollar index above 95 and climbing? Now, truthfully, when we look at what's happening to the dollar is falling. And yeah, there's the Basel III, I think it's called, something about June, that's coming together. And there's a lot of people talking about that. But you need to realize that we are nowhere near mania phase. And I still think we're on this long roll. We might be 2 years into this 10-year, but things kind of happen in decade spans. So I'm looking at by, like 2029 or something, that's where we should be getting kind of toppy. So, well, I don't know. I just wanted to try to answer that so that you understood where I thought we were going on that. But I tell you, when I get out there and split wood, I'm picking up some of these rounds, and these things are heavy. So I'm having to split some of them on the ground before I even get them up on this thing because they're still, fresh cut, and so therefore they got all the water and sap and everything in there, and it's a chunk. These red oak especially are very dense wood. So I'm feeling it, folks. I'm feeling it. Anyways, we got a good group on here tonight. So let me go through some of the names I've seen here. Griffey Talk. I don't know. He says he's gay. Okay. Effie Free 4A. Rich Mariani. Justin Gabriel is typing in from Ireland. Edgewater Heating. AGAU. Ode MMC. DW. Michelle Simcoe. Carlos Alfonso. Mr. Action One. Did I catch everybody? My Tin Foil Hat. JH. Yeah, the gas prices. They always lower the gas prices before an election. You can just about count on that. Dave Davies. Yeah, it doesn't stimulus juice the markets, though. It could, but at some point you're blowing up a balloon, and eventually you can only put so much air in there. SD Bullion has a nice deal on Buffaloes right now, huh? Ronald Wells, hello. Angel Ramos from Puerto Rico, cool. Pedrito, don't know how to pronounce the last name. How are you? Chung Choi is here. They're like $80 over spot. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I've got my spreadsheet up here. So on January 13th, so that was a little less than 2 weeks ago, I took a look at gold, silver, and platinum. And so I looked at, like, spot for gold was 1853, which is about the same as right now. They were buying back at 1874, and this is Gold Eagles, by the way. And then you could buy them for 1964. So the premium was 6%, which is a little high because gold is typically like in 3.5% on good pricing. Silver was spot 25.41, sellback was 27.16 for Eagles, and then buying price was 29.80. That's a 17.3% premium. That's a little bit high, not terribly high, because silver is typically like 15% under optimal times. Platinum was 11.08.10 for spot, and then sellback was 11.27.20, and then buying it was 13.87.19, 25% premium, which was high. That was really high. So I wanted to let you know that these prices are still a little bit elevated, but keep in mind you're still paying 10% more for silver, which means you got to make that up to catch up with gold. And I was looking at some of the prices bought back in 2018, and silver is just even with the prices from 2018 when gold and silver was purchased, with all of the premiums and everything factored in, because you have to factor out your premium that you paid for it. So I just wanted you to know that was kind of interesting looking at that. Brick 22, hello from Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, we got some riots in Puerto Rico. Have I heard anything about VNNHF? So I'm still working on the portfolios, and one of the things that I do is even the existing positions, I'm going to put together like a summary for the members and kind of explain the latest information that's out there regarding even the positions that we're holding. So that's going to be another benefit to the members. But right now we're kind of just, I've redone the portfolios. I haven't added any new positions yet, but I've kind of reallocated the funds. But I wanted to just be real careful this time period. I think February is when things are going to start popping. So I've got to have everything in place early in February. So that's my goal. And I'm probably not going to have every position filled in the improved portfolio, but I will have a couple new positions, and then we'll look towards the middle of February. I can, the videos can only be so long, so I can't add everything all at once and explain everything. So that's why we're going to kind of spread it out a little bit. But everything's hanging in there. We're not going to do ETFs this time around for the improved portfolio. We're zeroing out all the ETFs and just going pure stocks. But I'm going to tell you that the ETF portfolio did very respectable last year. So I'm hoping that it continues as well. So even if you're not a paid member, you're getting that free portfolio and the intelligence showing you how it's done. Yeah, I heard there was a lot of shortage on gold. People have bought everything up. You may only be able to get bars or something, but it's like the Eagles are kind of sold out. Maybe because it's the New Year's are coming in. I don't know. We got 18 thumbs up. How about them Buccaneers? The Buccaneers are playing a home game at the Super Bowl. That just doesn't happen that often. That's pretty cool. Brady pulled it off. I watched that game. That was a pretty cool game. That's going to be another one of those guys. He doesn't have enough fingers for all the Super Bowl rings. Oh, new Eagle design change. I like my old Eagles. I actually haven't had to run the fireplaces the last couple days. That's the wood stoves. That's kind of nice. Get a little break. Almost had to run the AC today. Just get the humidity out. It's supposed to have more rain tomorrow. I'll tell you what, the Bucks defense saved him 2 weeks ago, and they actually did a really good job this week as well. So he's not carrying the whole team just with passing. He's done some fantastic defense on the Bucks. 85 degrees. Yeah. It was nice today to be outside. In fact, I got sweaty, had to come in and take a shower, and I'm in North Georgia. It was nice getting some work done. So, Mr. Action One, have you tried wiring? So, for instance, my particular bank, it's actually free to wire the money, and you can have it where it's delivered the same day for no cost, or maybe it's the second day is no cost, but they actually prefer the wires. It's much quicker. So, I like pre-1933 gold. So there's one of the dealers that's online that does all of these tons of videos, and she likes to cry, and I'm not going to mention her name, try to get everybody, emotionally attached to what she's saying, but she's pushing all the 1933 gold. And I will tell you, she's trying to do it because she's saying that those are collectible, but truthfully, the majority of that stuff is not really collectible. And you're paying a tremendous premium. To each his own. If you think that gives you an edge to where if they want to come confiscate it, they're not likely going to do it. But I just don't know that it's a valid reason to pay a significant premium, just like I suggest that you shouldn't buy a whole lot of silver with that tremendous premium. And also the fact that it collapses like a space shuttle. It doesn't have any aerodynamics to it, and when it starts coming down, it comes down like a rock. So it's like an impossible trade. So you should just do a little bit that way. If you want to get a little bit, that's fine, but try to buy it when it's super low premiums, because that stuff can be sky high. And if we're talking about the end of the world type stuff, people aren't going to be paying a lot for slabbed stuff. They're just going to want to know what it is and pay you, what do you want to call it? Just, some kind of spot for it, because, if it's the end of the world, we're not going to be going on the internet looking up the value of stuff. So yeah, e-check's another way to do it. That's that's a pretty quick transaction. I seen today Bellow Sun price target of $1 per share, but I sold my shares. Also buying. PMs are having a hard time keeping up with my orders. The last time I saw Bellow Sun, the price target was $3. So I don't know where you're getting the $1 per share target, but I think it's closer to $3. Okay, so the one thing I want you to think about, um, and I don't have it in front of me, but it's off the top of my head, so I could be wrong. If you look at the pre 1933, uh, that's kind of like a junk gold. It's not pure gold, right? So it's 22 karat, but I think those pre 1933 don't even have an ounce of gold like the current Eagles do. So keep that in mind. You're not paying for a full ounce of gold because it's some amount of gold and silver and copper or something. So it's going to be cheaper from a melt value. So keep that in mind. You're not paying for the same thing uh, like you have the current coins, which have 1 ounce of gold plus silver and copper. So yeah, DW is talking about that too. There's less than a full ounce of gold and 90%. So yes. Gold 20 franc is good to buy. I don't know what that means. Sorry, some of this stuff is just a little too cryptic for me. Ouch. I always try to buy the sovereign mint coins because they're the most recognizable. Um, I do not purchase a lot of rounds or things like that. I've got a couple that were interesting to me. Like I showed you guys, I had like a Trump coin, but I also had a Clinton coin and a couple other things. But it's not something that I consider any of these things really being collectibles, just interesting. So DW's got to go. Yeah, the confiscation concept. Remember, and it's probably good for me to repeat some of these things. Will they come after your gold and silver when they can just flip a switch and own your IRAs, your 401ks, all that kind of stuff, electronic funny money? Your bank accounts can be just flipped over and turned over to the Treasury. They can do that in just a heartbeat. It can be done. It's all under control. They know about everything, so they could just do it. So are they going to come house to house and try to take your gold and silver or try to force a recall? It seems unlikely. So yep, if they make it illegal, make it much more valuable, just like the war on drugs has been going on for probably as long as I've been alive, and they sure haven't killed it, have they? Now, I like the way you said Janet yelled. It's like we got deja vu. We're going all the way back to stuff that did not work, but we're going to do it again. We're going to try to do it better, faster, cheaper, but they're not. They're going to make the same mistakes. We're still on the same glide path you want. In fact, they're probably just speeding it up now. This thing's going to collapse. The timing is so good for all this being where we're at. I'm still just ecstatic the way this is working. We'll see. The only thing that can screw us up is the fact that they've crushed the economy and they are going to, they've laid off all kinds of people, which people can't pay their mortgages, they can't pay their rents, and all of a sudden we're going to have, housing prices correcting, and it's going to be an opportunity for people like me who's not in love with gold and silver. To me, it's just a trade, and you potentially will convert and go back into real estate again if you can pick things up for half price again. Um, I saw an article today. I'm glad you brought that up, my tinfoil hat. We were kind of getting there anyways, but they said that 1 in 5 tenants are behind in rent, and they're behind something like $4,000 or $5,000. So it's funny. I got 5 rental properties, and I've got all my tenants are up to date except for one, and they're behind about $4,000. They're working on it. I think they're going to make it, but there was some things that happened, and they're getting there. So it's just kind of funny that that statistic comes out, and it matches perfectly with my conditions. So, yep. But renters are paying, but there's always low lifes. There's professional renters, and those have been starting to be addressed now. But it puts landlords in difficult situation. I think I forgot to tell you something too. Even though I've told you that it's a good idea to leverage your real estate by having a mortgage, I learned something this time around. The particular house that I'm having trouble where they're behind in rent. If you have a mortgage, the government wouldn't let you, it's not really foreclose, but let's say evict the tenants if you had a mortgage, because they said, we're actually own the house because we have the mortgage through Freddie and Fannie Mae and all that. But if you own the house outright, which I did in this one house, there wasn't anything they could do about it. You can go through the courts and go through the whole thing. You just had to show them that you had owned the property free and clear. So that, it used to be an advantage to have a mortgage, but now with the government even getting in your business, telling you what you can do with your properties, I'm beginning to think I'm going to start paying these suckers off, because it ain't worth it to, have people sitting there lounging in your house not paying. You got to be able to hold people accountable. So I don't know. We'll see. But that was something that I learned earlier this year, and last year, that is. And I was able to do some things because, again, I owned it outright. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, I've seen some of the gun shows. The ammo is 2 times just even a year ago. It's ridiculous how much they've got it marked up. You don't ever wait till there's a problem to stock up. You gotta always keep reserves. Just like remember, I've told you about your canned goods, and I've talked to you about canning yourself and all this stuff. You should always not let things get too far down. In fact, one of the problems I ran into when I was making the bread today, all of my yeast was ridiculously old. I'd forgotten that yeast is only good for a certain amount of time, so I have to toss all of my yeast. And you should keep it like in the freezer, so I'm going to do that next time. I've got to go pick some up at Sam's Club. And you just keep it in the freezer. It lasts a lot longer, but yep, it's outrageously expensive. I do have a spreadsheet from years ago. I'll bring it up on one of my shows that I was tracking the cost of ammo, and it was really interesting back in, I think it was 2012, how fast ammo prices were going up just like today, and it was outpacing, the precious metals for sure. So you could consider, lead and brass and saltpeter and all that stuff probably extremely lucrative right now. Should have brought a drink in here. I'm getting parched talking too much or so much. I got to set up a Zoom for the members. I got that on the goal this year. Big D done. What does that mean? Big D done. Tinfoil hat. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Big D done. I wish I could pause this thing and go get my drink, but I got to go fill it up and everything because I drank it all at dinner. Oh, so I fried some fish up tonight. That actually came out pretty good. It was some stripers that I'd caught out of Lake Lanier, and it came out pretty doggone good. I'm going to do some fried okra tomorrow when I warm up the fish. It was too much work to try to do the okra and the fish. So, oh, so yeah, can't talk about that right now. I think we're in the home stretch, folks. According to my attorney, I've kind of pulled out 4 aces here, so that should tell you something. I think some things are going to come together here pretty quickly, and we'll see. There'll be a lot to tell, I think, when this thing's all over. I definitely want to. Um, I think it's going to be something I can help a lot of people, because there's just things the way I did business that was just being a Christian man, but it ended up being in my favor. So um, I'll let you know how it goes. But I will tell you this: don't go cheap on an attorney. Don't go cheap, folks, and go find a trial attorney. So that's a secret right there. And you go for the end game right from the beginning. I think I had a really piss poor attorney originally, and I got that cleaned up. And now it's really uncovered problems on the other side that are probably not going to be able to be corrected. So they're likely going down in flames. I'll tell you that much. It's good. It's good when you get a good attorney. You can tell things are going the right direction. So we're getting there. I'll be happy when this thing's over. It was a tough time last year, but time kind of heals. I'm kind of glad I slow rolled everything at the beginning so you can get your head straight. You got to get your head in the game on this. And so remember, I did all that prayer and fasting, and I did a lot of Christian music and everything, and it kind of purified me and allowed me to, I talked about before, getting above the problem. You got to get up here, look down like the way a general looks on the board of, where he's got the tanks and artillery and everything set up. Once I was able to do that, then allowed me to start moving forward properly. So that has made a huge impact. And that's the way I used to kind of do things at work. Same thing. I was kind of like a general leading a bunch of people and solving really expensive problems. And so you had to get above it, not mired down in the middle of everything. So that's the way I finally did this. And I think it helped a lot. It helped a tremendous amount. So once you start thinking clearly, you have to give your attorney all the information you can about, what's going on, who you are, because they're going to defend you, but they don't know you from a hill of beans. So there's some interesting things in my background that really helped a lot in my case. And it's something that you don't think about till you sit back and try to describe what's going on and how things worked. So I can see a book out of something like this. It'll be interesting. But, at the same time, there's certain things you can never talk about in court cases and stuff. So we'll see how it works out. Where I live, so he's asking, are masks strict in Georgia? Where I live, I'm in a northern part, which is a rural area. And the more rural you move up, like farther north, it's funny. Some restaurants, they're not even wearing masks. They're like little home cooked type places. And then when you go to like Home Depot and Kroger and those kind of places, you have to wear masks. But the smaller places like barbershops and stuff, they expect you to wear masks. But all the other places, not so much. In fact, I see a lot of people going to Home Depot without masks still. Yeah, I don't know about, I do know that we have this thing in Georgia where it's it's later in the day, so I have a hard time remembering the name of it, but equitable distribution. This is not a automatic 50-50 state. So equitable distribution, it's not really well defined anywhere, but basically, let's say you're the man of the house and you're the one, working 50, 60 hours a week, and then you're developing a real estate business and all this stuff, and you're using all your vacation time to do that. And that counts heavily in a divorce to say, yeah, this guy's the one that kind of humped it and did everything. If the spouse, all she was doing at home was sitting there cooking and watching TV and stuff, they're going to look at that and kind of say, you don't deserve as much because you didn't hump it like he did. You didn't work any overtime. You didn't do much of anything above and beyond. So you were just kind of, getting on his back. So riding his back like a dependent. So the state of Georgia, in that sense, really does have an advantage, especially if you're on the side of kind of like the way I do things, where you're really working hard. Don't give up. So I don't know, how it ranks against all the rest of them, but there's a potential here that because of the way I've done things, that it's going to come out significantly more in my favor. So I'll be able to go into a lot more details later, but you just don't know till it's all done. Now, I'm going to tell you what, if you got kids and you're a guy and the wife, say you screwed around or whatever, I mean, you're screwed, buddy. But if you don't have kids, like my kids have been gone since 2007 or something, that makes it really nice because that's not a huge factor that makes the divorce a lot simpler. But they do things like mediation here, and all that stuff is kind of weighed in. You get this independent assessment stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. You never know till it's over. But I think there's going to be a big surprise here. Yeah, Mass and Disney wouldn't surprise me. That's a liberal hellhole. No other way to describe it. What do you think about Trump being? They're going after him, even though he's not in office anymore. They don't want him ever to be reelected again. So apparently, if they can impeach him a second time, he can't be ever elected. So I find that bizarre, but they can give it their best shot. They're just wasting a bunch of time. And I went to all those parks when I lived in Florida, and it just got to be where I just didn't really want to go anymore. It's just, it's fun for the kids, but good golly, just standing in line all the time drives me crazy. Yeah, I did a video where I talked about we're absolutely screwed in the voting now because they now can, basically put anybody they want in. There's nothing you can do until that whole thing is corrected. We're absolutely screwed. So they got us right where they want us. Good grief, 45 minutes. That's still like 1/10 of your day standing in line for one thing. We got 29 likes and 37 people watching. Yes, we are screwed. Remember, they can vote now in any city. They can vote for any tax increase they want. They can do anything they want. There is nothing we can do about it. That should scare the crap out of you. 45 minutes have gone by already. Can you even believe that? 45 minutes. Have you noticed how gold and silver and platinum are all just been stabilized? Not even any movement at all. Everything's just kind of sitting, just rock solid. Oh, that was another thing. Yellen or somebody. I'm so glad you brought that up about taxing it. Yellen brought up the fact that Janet Yellen, now I'm throwing it up. She brought up the fact that why don't we tax gains even if you don't sell your stocks? Can you believe that? You're sitting there, maybe sitting on, yearly 10% gains, and they're going to tax 10% of that 10%, even though you didn't sell any of your stock. So they are killing me thinking about stuff like that. Actually, AGAU man, he says, did you hear Biden put a 100-day moratorium on deportation for illegals? Apparently, a Texas judge shot that down and said, nope, you can't do that. So they're playing the same game this time. Don't forget, Trump put in, somebody can figure it out, but I think it was like 180 federal judges when he was in office. So he's now got a whole bunch of people to try to hold the line on this stuff. Why did I go with dobson777a? Okay. Actually, if you go to my About tab, I explain all of this, but the 777 is the perfect number. It's supposed to mean like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then I had to add an A on there because I had started my channel with Dobson777, and then I lost my password or some damn thing. So I had to start the channel all over again. And I just added the A on there. So that's what that means. When I first started this, like in 2011, 2012, I only did a couple videos, and I just had a long break between. And then I started back up hardcore in like 2018, I think it was, when I started this. Towards the end of 2018, I started doing a few, and then I started doing a lot of these. Yeah, California is trying to do like what New York and some of the other states have done, trying to reach back into people's pockets when they get the heck out of there. We're right now, I'm going to look at the charts again, but I would argue we're probably coiling on these charts now. So it's like a spring being wound up, and then eventually these things are going to snap. Think about when oil jumps up. That makes these precious metal miners less profitable. And at some point, they're going to have to raise their prices, and we're going to see gold and silver go up because they can't get it out of the ground with the oil going up, because they need the fuel and to mine the stuff. And so it costs more to mine the things. So either you're going to see a drop in the profitability, or you're going to see the metal prices go up to compensate. That's the way it works, folks. Well, we're right at about an hour here, so I think I'm going to shut it down. I had a busy day. I'm tired. I want to go watch a little TV, unwind, and still going through the Longmire series. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Longmire. I watched it years ago, and there's like 6 seasons, and I'm halfway through the 5th season now. And then I think we're going to do the Justified, because I've never watched Justified except for some clips on YouTube. But I love that Longmire. If you get a chance, look at it on Netflix. That's a fantastic series. It's every episode is just so well done. So anyways, I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.